In the day's other news, President Biden endorsed making $1,400 stimulus payments to Americans earning up to $75,000 a year. Democratic leaders in the House Ways and Means Committee backed that figure overnight. Republicans and some Democratic moderates want to limit payments to those making $50,000 or less. The nominee for White House budget chief acknowledged today that new stimulus might ignite inflation. But Neera Tanden told her Senate confirmation hearing that doing too little could do even more damage. On another issue, Tanden apologized for her history of scathing tweets about top Republicans.
I recognize that this role is a bipartisan role, and I know I have to earn the trust of senators across the board. For those concerned about my rhetoric and my language, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for any hurt that they've caused.
Also today, the Senate Environment Committee endorsed Michael Regan to be EPA administrator. His nomination now goes to the full Senate. Experts from the World Health Organization have concluded that COVID-19 most likely did not come from a Chinese lab. The team announced that finding today after investigating in Wuhan, where the first cases appeared.
Our initial findings suggest that the introduction through an intermediary host species is the most likely pathways. The findings suggest that the laboratory incident hypothesis is extremely unlikely and to explain the introduction of the virus into the human population.
The U.S. State Department said today that, quote, the jury's still out on whether China has been fully forthcoming. In Myanmar, police cracked down on crowds who defied a ban on protesting against last week's military coup. Authorities in the capital city and elsewhere fired water cannons and warning shots. Some of the protesters were wounded by rubber bullets. Search parties in northern India look for survivors again today after a Himalayan glacier broke apart on Sunday. It unleashed a flash flood that killed at least 32 people and left 165 missing. Rescue workers today looked through muddy valleys and cleared debris from a tunnel where 36 workers are believed to be trapped. Back in this country, at least 5 people were shot and wounded at a health clinic in Buffalo, Minnesota, northwest of Minneapolis. Police arrested 67-year-old Gregory Paul Ulrich, a man with a record of run-ins with the law.
The history that we have as a department with this individual makes it most likely that this incident was targeted at that facility or at someone within that facility.
Police also found what appeared to be homemade bombs, but they said this does not appear to be a case of domestic terrorism. Federal safety investigators blamed a helicopter pilot today for the crash that killed former basketball great Kobe Bryant. The helicopter smashed into a hillside outside Los Angeles in January 2020. Bryant's 13-year-old daughter and 6 others, including the pilot, also died. The National Transportation Safety Board ruled that the pilot violated safety rules when he flew into heavy fog. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost about 10 points to close at 31,375. The Nasdaq rose 20 points to a new record close. The S&P 500 slipped 4 points. The Arab world scored a triumph in space today as this animation shows an unmanned craft from the United Arab Emirates reached orbit around Mars after traveling for 7 months. The orbiter will gather data on the planet's atmosphere. Spacecraft from the U.S. and China are also set to arrive at Mars in the next few days. And singer Mary Wilson, one of the original Supremes, has died. She helped power Motown in the 1960s. Jeffrey Brown has our remembrance.
Mary Wilson was a key part of a legendary sound, a founding member with Florence Ballard and, of course, Diana Ross of the Supremes. They were trailblazers with a string of hits from Motown in the 1960s, after coming together as teenagers in Detroit.
We came from a time when, as black people, you didn't dream about becoming a star. You didn't dream about making money. It was all about being a human being, being respected, being equal.
The group would go through changes, most of all Diana Ross leaving to go solo. Mary Wilson remained until the end in 1977, before starting her own solo career. Her 1986 memoir, Dream Girl, documented those early years, including strained relations with Ross before the split. In a video shared Saturday, she said she was excited to celebrate Black History Month and the release of more of her work, timed to her upcoming birthday on March 6th.
And we'll see. Okay, I got my fingers crossed here. Yes, I do.
Wilson died Monday at her home in Las Vegas. No cause of death was given.
I remember you.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jeffrey Brown.
No other music like it. Mary Wilson was 76 years old.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.